So we have spent a while trying to think about what gimbals we think could help our channel, and we think we have finally found the one. Hey guys, I hope you're all well and safe. It is Jack from TechFusions here, and today in this video we are going to be reviewing the Zhiyun Crane 2S. So let's jump straight into it. So first of all, we just want to say a huge thank you to Zhiyun for sending us the gimbal. This video is not sponsored, but they did send us the gimbal to review. So let's take a quick look at the box. So when you open the box, it comes in a nice grey carry case, which is actually really useful when going out and about with the gimbal. The case is also pretty light, which is actually pretty good when you think about how heavy the gimbal can be. In the case you have the gimbal itself, the batteries, quick release plate, a charger which supports USB Type-C, a camera riser plate, some cables and a mini tripod grip to go underneath the gimbal. So you get quite a lot in the box. We were quite lucky enough to receive the Pro kit, which has only recently been released. This includes the sling mount grip, a trans mount focus and zoom monitor, a phone holder, a dual camera mount if you have more than one camera, and lastly a image transmission transmitter. So lots of things there. Now we know what's in the box, let's take a quick look at the design. The Crane has a nice black design, which for me looks pretty stylish and pretty sleek. The Crane 2S also has a carbon fibre grip at the bottom, which makes it a lot easier when you are out and about. I know this is something that wasn't on the first original Crane 2, and I think adding this is something that is really nice and actually makes it a lot easier to hold as well, which is pretty great. Of course, one of the new features of this gimbal is the locking mechanism 2.0. This actually makes the gimbal a lot easier when traveling, because what it does is it prevents things such as swinging if you are in transit, and this is really useful when you're on the move. I found that I often set up the gimbal the night before, so having this was just really nice, because then I could actually balance it the day before, and then I know that it would stay in place because I could then just lock it in place and the next morning it would generally be good to go. I also found having this locking system really useful when trying to balance the gimbal. This is because you could easily balance one axis at a time, which made it a lot easier and quicker to balance. I found that it actually took me quite a while when I first got the gimbal to balance it, and I think this is because it's one of the first proper gimbals I've actually used with a camera, but I think like anything, the more you practice, the quicker it gets, and I found that the more I was doing it, the quicker it ends up taking, and now I can do it quite quickly. Crane S2 also comes with a OLED display. This means you could change things such as the aperture if you want to lower or higher the aperture, or the focus on your camera, which works really well. And all you need to do is connect it with a cable which plugs from your camera to your gimbal. I use the gimbal with a Canon M6 Mark II, and for me it works well most of the time. I did have a couple of times when it didn't always connect, but I think that might have been an issue with the cable rather than with the gimbal itself. We also made use of the focus wheel, which is really useful when using manual focus. This worked really well and allowed us to get some really nice and crispy shots. So the gimbal has a range of different modes. These include pan following, locking, following, full range, point of view, vortex, and go mode. The go mode is actually quite cool because it goes quite quickly, so if you're doing something like a sports event, the gimbal actually follows really quickly, which I found quite fun. The main modes that we tended to use was the pan follow mode and the lock mode. but it's nice to have all those different options, and I think that's one of the great things about this gimbal. We actually used the gimbal to film a lot of the shots in our recent videos, and I found that it really helped up the production quality of some of the videos that we were producing. We did this intentionally, and this was so we could really test out to see how the gimbal would help us for our videos. We found it was particularly useful when trying to get that smoother footage when doing product shots. So for us, quite often when we did our last video on the iPhone, it worked really well being able to actually use the gimbal just to get those smoother moving shots. And I think for us, that's what we will tend to use it for the most, and for that it worked really well. It's also pretty easy to switch between the modes when you are actually using the gimbal by pressing the mode button, and to return you just press the standby button twice. When using the gimbal, I actually use the sling grip quite a lot, and this is one of the really cool accessories that comes with the Pro kit, which I really liked using and something that I will continue to use quite a lot after this video. One thing I particularly liked about it is how easy it is to adjust and how easy it is to add things to it, because the amount of holes you've got to screw different things in, which is really useful. I found that I was constantly moving this and changing the angle of the sling grip, which for me works really well, and it's nice that you can do that because it just gives you lots of different options when you are filming, especially when out and about. It also really helped us achieve some of those low down shots, and one thing I like to do quite a lot is kind of start down low and come up quite quickly, and I found having that sling grip was really useful, especially for that. The Pro kit for us also came with a smartphone holder. I actually thought I wouldn't use this, but then I found it really useful when out and about, and the reason why I do this is because I put lots of my shot ideas on my phone before, and actually having that attached to the gimbal was really useful, and I felt that because of that I wasn't forgetting as many shots, or if I did forget something then I would then go back to it a lot quicker and realise that I forgot something, which works really well. This was particularly good for me when trying to plan out transitions and things like that for the videos. Of course, it also is good because you can use the app with the phone, and that's another great feature. Talking about smartphones, you can also download the Play app for Zhiyun, which is pretty good, and I found that was quite useful. You can control some of the settings using the app. I found that I didn't really do this too much, and I tended just to change any settings on the gimbal itself, but it's nice just having those options available. This also meant that I could actually move the gimbal if I was standing a little bit further away from the gimbal, and I did this a couple of times because of shadows and things like that. So in a way, I did really like having that feature as well, even though I didn't use it too much. So Zhiyun claimed that the Crane 2S has a 12-hour battery life, which is a pretty good claim when you really think about it. To be honest, we didn't quite test it out for those full 12 hours in a row, so it's quite hard to say, but what I can say is we did take it out about 4 or 5 hours, and I have to say it was on for most of the time, and we still had 2 bars left by the end, which was really good. And to be honest, I was quite surprised because when we went out it was really cold. I think it was -2 or -3 degrees, so the gimbal was freezing, and I was surprised how well the battery lasts. And I actually thought when I got it I would need to get a new set of batteries, but I found I haven't needed to yet, which is amazing. So well done Zhiyun there. So when we thought about getting a gimbal for the channel, there are a few things that we wanted a gimbal to achieve for us. That was, of course, will it improve our videos? Will it help us get those shots that we really want? And I have to say, it just does do that. To be honest, it is still a bit of a learning curve for us, as we said, this is one of the first gimbals we've used. We have, of course, used smartphone gimbals before, but this is the first actual camera gimbal we have used. With that said, using the gimbal has just been so much fun, and to be honest, it's something that I'm going to continue to use in probably most of our videos now from this point. And I think if you continue to watch our videos, you will hopefully see a lot more smoother and crispier shots, and that is because of the Crane 2S. So we will be continuing to use it after this review. So one of the questions that you may be asking is, should I buy this gimbal? And I have to say, for me, I would personally recommend it because I just found it so much fun to use. I found it worked well. I found it did what we needed to To be honest, we was actually looking for a gimbal anyway, so when Zhiyun approached us, we was really happy about it, and it's a great way for us just to help and up our production quality. One thing I would do if you are thinking about buying the Crane 2S, I would just recommend checking that your camera is compatible first. It does work better if your camera is compatible. I will leave a link in the description down below so you can check if your camera is compatible or not. So we would love to make more videos on the Crane 2S, so feel free to leave a comment down below. We'd maybe like to do a video on using more of the pro accessories, so let us know what you think. We really want to know what you think, because that really helps us figure out what we're going to do next in terms of our videos. If you feel like you got value from this video, we would really appreciate it if you give the video a thumbs up, and if you are new to our channel, feel free to subscribe to our channel. Again, it really is appreciated. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Again, thanks to Zhiyun for sending us this gimbal. We will leave descriptions down below if it's something you want to buy. It is Jack from TechFusions. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.